I do have 8:45. Jumped on a few minutes later usually than I do on TikTok. So for TikTok guys, like I said, I can see your comments. I do have a plan. This is for the community. I'm gonna go through the SPY, kind of how we traded it yesterday, what we did, what we were watching, and then we're just gonna kind of flip through into kind of where I think we're going today. The obvious that we're looking at here is we do have that potential inverse head and shoulder. I did put this out in the room. You can see here about probably 15-20 minutes ago. So that's continuing to try to play out. We did get the jobless claims. It didn't really do anything market-wise. So I think that it's because the big thing today is going to be 12 o'clock, right, when Powell starts talking. So I think there's a lot of hesitation on doing too much until that happens. So it's just going to be a little quiet. Now, if we get this inverse head and shoulder, obviously we're right at that neckline. This will be the kind of pre-move, I think. If it begins to break above it, and we can actually get some steam to break above this line here, right, then I think we're going to see that reclaim of this side, pushing us back up to about that 433 range. However, if the pre-market can't break through this, and it just continues to hold as resistance, then this whole thing will get invalidated and will break down. So yesterday we had an awesome day. Let me go to the 5-minute chart. That's kind of what we traded mostly yesterday, using some of the new setups. Now you can see yesterday was about right here when we market opened. We had a nice little fake push, right? And then you had that doji pop up, and then we had just a massive candle. So literally, we told everybody right out the gate to stay bearish because we had opened up bearish, and it just continued to stay that way. So you really could have thrown any trade, any put trade in here, and you would have came out in profit. So we did take a couple of these puts for some really big wins yesterday. The cool part is on top of, let me see if I put the screenshot. Yeah. So this was actually kind of an awesome part. You guys in the community, you know this. We actually took some trades yesterday, and is this one? Let me look and see. This one's from yesterday. Yeah, 18 hours ago. So we ended up as it came down, right. We took the little push bounce here, and then we came across here and we took a put there. So we got 2 wins on the automation. But what was really cool is to see us take the trades in the room while we're calling it and get that profit, but on top of that have the technology behind the scenes taking a trade too based off the settings. So if you're in the community, guys, obviously you know that I have the market insights out. If you're not in the community, you're on YouTube or TikTok watching this, every single day we put out the market insights right here. We don't have a Discord. People always ask this. We created our own Discord. You have the market insights here. Copy of his speech 20 minutes before speaking, right? And so this was kind of like our breakdown that we give every morning, a lot of guidance, kind of where we see the market going, some key areas to watch, as well as the technology settings. So that's kind of, we really just stayed put all day yesterday, and then we shut it down, I think around, it's like 1 o'clock, I think, something like that. So we just see where we land here. So there's a key area. I did put this out in the room. I'll share with you guys here. This is the key level we want to watch right here. 431.06 is what I have it marked at. Because if you look back along this way, right, you had some areas that were support. We had tons of resistance in here, tons of resistance in here, flipped as support here. This one almost made it as support. And so if this actually can flip and hold as support, we're going to have that upside to that 433 almost certainly, right? If we continue to hold rejection below this 431, I would stay put. So because to answer your question, Tony, is basically what I'm saying right now. Because if we stay below this 431.06, I would not take calls. I would ride those puts. But if we do break above this 431.06 and you see a little bit of support by the time market opens, always give 15-20 minutes, after market open, to see what the volume comes in at. If the volume's coming in green and we're above this level, we're taking calls likely. So that's kind of the watch that we're going with today as far as the SPY. Again, in the community, you know, we do put out the different levels and key levels and stuff like that. So that's all more if you're part of that community there. If you want the more in-depth review of it. So looking out here, I want to show you guys something. So this was if y'all remember, we were talking about when this was starting to break down like this, right? We were talking about how you could have that potential cup and handle breakout. If you notice, we had such a big drop, and while we were riding those puts, is we actually came down, it tried to break it, couldn't do it, retraced, tried to break it one more time, couldn't do it, bam, just collapses as it goes, right? So that was the big pullback play. Now the thing you want to look at now is if you go into probably like the 2 or 4 hour, right? This is going to squeeze into more of a double top situation. So again, if we stay below that mark, right, you don't want to take those calls, because if this happens to break this neckline with some strength like it did here, and we continue to fail this retest, then we're gonna see that further downside, right, to reclaim this side here. There's some stuff you can look at on you guys all know, I'm gonna mute these. The 21 SMA and the 200 EMA is what I love to follow. Here's my biggest concern, right? So we have our death cross of the 21 SMA crossing below the 200 EMA, and our candles are holding pretty well below it. Our trend finder strength is showing that the trend is pretty maxed out on strength. Typically when it gets this high, there is a little pullback, so a potential push up north wouldn't surprise me, somewhere 431.72, maybe even 432.42. If we reject below any of these, it could put us in just a range of this support and this resistance, right? And if we break above this, obviously, I mean, I'm real bullish, because the next stop is until like 435. So those are kind of the levels that I'm watching, the breakdowns also that I'm watching for that. So if you look back here, when we had our golden cross, I mean, it was around 429, and so we're having our death cross here around the 432 mark on the cross here, and so that's something to watch, right? Something to note, because everybody was super bullish on this cross here. Another thing you can look at, because this is really what caused the stir in the first place, is the weekly. So if you've seen, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks that were bearish. We ended up flipping this one into not only a bullish week after the 4 weeks, but it was a bullish candle, right? We got that confirmation, push up here. This was all FOMO of basically people pushing that bullishness. Now, you can see here, if we close, so you have your open, you have your close right here. So around 431.52 or so. If we, let me highlight over there. Yeah, 431.50. If we ended up closing this week below here, so by tomorrow, if we close below that, right, that's going to be a bearish close there. It could be setting up a longer term double bottom over the next like 3 weeks like that, right, to give us that push. But if this one closes below that level, I'm going to be fairly bearish for the next week or so. Back down to at least that 420 range. So that's kind of the breakdown of where I'm going with SPY and what I'm looking at. The big play today obviously was the Netflix push. The earnings came out obviously positive there, and it just a massive run up. I mean, it did kind of what Nvidia did not too long ago. So the one thing I wanted to point out, I know people haven't talked about it, I will do Nvidia here in a sec, is Tesla. So Tesla, if you guys see, I still have my drawings here. I know we talked about the bear flag that was playing out, that broke down obviously. We tried to hold some support on this trend line, and like we talked about on Tesla, if we break this trend line has been going on since back here, right, which is back in April. So you had 1, 2, 3 points of it as support. It began to squeeze and basically lost it, and that's where it caused that big pullback from Tesla. So we have a big pump on Netflix and a big pullback on Tesla. These are obviously going to balance the SPY, right? So if Netflix continues to pump and Tesla finds some support and begins to reclaim this, then you're going to obviously see that impacted in the SPY. But again, it did break that trend line. So, but we do have some heavy support with Tesla. The reason why I'm covering this one is this could be a potential opportunity for you guys if you watch this one close, because if you see here, we have support here, we have resistance here, and we are really close. So if we get anywhere into this like 220, 215 range, and I begin to see that bullish volume come in, man, that could just be such an amazing call setup right there. So you can even see our 1 hour is calling that a gap fill needs to be made. So NVIDIA, so let's talk about that. NVIDIA is a funny one because, this one had such crazy pump, just kind of like how Netflix did, right? It had just a crazy candle. And it's been sustaining, I mean, let's be honest. It's interesting because if you really mute the indicators, and you can see, it just continued to climb. Bam, had its explosion, and it kind of continued to climb. Now the interesting thing here, we have the high, higher high, higher high, higher high, but now we have the lower high equal to this side high. So that could be a sign in the longer term that we might be starting to round a little bit on this top here. You guys have this trend line here that I had put some time ago. This one we've obviously broken. I'm going to delete that one. And that gave us our downside. So this is going to be some area where you could potentially, if we hold support here anywhere above this this line, which is like 415, if we break back down to that line and we hold some support, right, you can set up a nice little call play. But I would caution you, if we break below this line and we end up falling, right, the next level of support's not till, I mean, down in this range, right? I would say maybe 386, 373, somewhere in that zone, right here. And so that's what you'd want to watch for. So that's kind of where I'm at with NVIDIA. I do think that we could see a nice little bounce here from NVIDIA if the news supports that. So we'll see how it goes today with Powell speaking. Obviously whatever he says loves to shift the market. So the dollar is beginning to drop. You can see where we hit resistance up here. I mean, our zone trackers just got like red galore in here. So let me look at this. This is so much red. So it's just heavy resistance for the dollar. So at the end of the day, you zoom out to the dollar like this, you can see we had this trend line that it was just climbing through. I mean, this was a pretty substantial trend line. Yeah, all the way back through here, right, which was back in July. So it just nonstop climbing all the way through. We did break back. It tried to reclaim it. We lost it, and now we're just kind of hanging out below that, right? I did have a little bull flag here drawn. It tried to play that out, and then it's collapsed it so far. But it has not broken back into this channel, so I would like to see, you can see on the 1 hour, this is the 200. If it can hold support here, then the upside is going to be pretty nasty. But depending what Powell says, right, if it comes out where the dollar is bearish, it's going to collapse back into this channel, which is going to pretty much pull it all the way back down to this 105 retest, which is going to push the markets north. So something to definitely watch. I was looking at the VIX. The thing with the VIX that I was kind of noticing is you have somewhat of a kind of shoulder here potentially forming, right? So if it breaks this 200 right here and we get that death cross, this one's also coming down to that 18 mark, which is going to push the markets north. So but again, it's at that 200 on this one's on the 5 minute. Let's check the 1 hour. I like to watch the 1 hour just to give me that further guidance. But yeah, I mean, you can look at just here. I mean, you have resistance, right? Even some resistance here. So if you were to mark a level like that, right? Let's just put it, let's put a yellow, thicken it up a little bit. So if you mark a level there, you can see we had resistance. This couldn't hold it, lost it. Resistance, couldn't hold it, lost it, right? Can't hold it, losing it. It's a key level. So if we continue to stay below here, then we're going to see that push back down. The 200 is all the way back down to about 17.86. So that could be that drive up to 433 for the SPY if that happens to play out. So however, you can see if we do flip back above this 19.65, right, and it can actually hold for a little bit of time with support, then we're going to see that break through. Looking at the 21 SMA, you can see it's already trying to bounce right here. So it might create that squeeze with this 21 SMA, and then that might be what propels it north. But if it flips this 21 SMA, right, it's going to have some steam heading down. So Bitcoin, I don't have a ton to say about Bitcoin, I'll be honest with you, because we were just ranging. We fell through. We had our accumulation phase, and then it had our public participation in there. A lot of FOMO through the news, a lot of FOMO still holding on because of this wick. At the end of the day, this wick is what's going to help hold this up. If the news comes out bullish, it's going to create a crazy FOMO, and this wick is going to be in people's minds confirmed and will likely push up. However, I want you to look at it. If the news is bad, right, or Powell starts talking about how the news is bad, you have right here, you have your kind of shoulder, your head. Ignore this wick because this thing was it was such a pump and dump. But you have that point, right? So even if you pump up to this point here on 28.8, if it begins to reject in a big way and we break this neckline right here, it's just going to reclaim this whole thing and just dump. So the key area for me, I would not take a long unless we get above this 28.8. I'd want to see this break above this and hold some support. If you take I don't have the zone tracker on here. Let me put that back on it. And get my 200 back. So you can see the 200 on the 1 hours all the way down to 27,794. So this 21 is going to be your key. If it breaks back below this, kind of how we did here, plus with the pattern, then we're likely to have that pull back down. However, if it can hold above this 21 SMA and come up here to squeeze this resistance, then that would be what would need to be to propel it up. The ticker on this one, this is on Bitcoin. I just have it as BTC USDT is the one I follow on Bitcoin. And then if you're asking about the VIX, this is what I have. Just put in VIX, right? And you can choose that top one, works fine. And for the SPY, the ticker that I use is the top one here, the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA. That is what I follow. But just going back to what we were talking about earlier, you can see, we're continuing to pressure north. This is looking like it wants to play out, and so we've already kind of passed that neckline. Once it gets past this 200 EMA right here, right, that's going to give us our sign that we're going to have some further push north. So we do have a little bit of a bearish divergence right here. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up, but it's going to be a volatile day. I will tell you guys on TikTok the same thing I just told you guys in the room, and if you did not see it in the room, I highly suggest it for that you look on the trading floor. I had put out this statement earlier this morning. This week so far, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, everybody that was trading in the room, everybody that was trading live trader have been super, super green. This is probably one of the better weeks that a lot of people have had in quite some time, right? And so, we've just had massive days. And with that said guys, when you have Thursday with a major news event, anytime Powell speaks, it's a major news event. Yes, that's a SPY. You're putting a lot at risk. And so if you're up, 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, and you've superseded your goal, which I think almost everybody has, for the week, hit your goal for the week, right? Study. Learn, soak it in, watch the news, let the market settle, let the market hit a zone that you're setting. Don't chase, because I've seen so many people, I get the emails back like, oh man, I'm kind of struggling, I'm not really sure what to do, and I'm like, why? Like, I thought you hit your goal by like Wednesday. And then they mentioned to me like, yeah, but I took this trade on Thursday and man, I just got wrecked. I lost like the whole contract, went worthless. I'm like, why? First of all, why would you take that direction? Second of all, why would you trade? If you've crushed your goal for the week, shut it down. What will kill you as a trader is the FOMO that you feel like you are always needing to be in a trade. That will kill you. Absolutely kill you. You need to just take the emotion out, sit there, trade what you see. If it doesn't mean don't trade at all. It just means be picky with your entry. Tell yourself, let's say if you're like, hey, I don't think this market's going to stay bearish. I think we're going bullish. Tell yourself, I'm not going to trade until it actually comes up, hits the resistance, comes down, and creates a lower or a higher low. And you can take even a line like something like that and say, okay, my rule today is I'm not going to trade unless I see us break above the 200, right? Come all the way up here and then have it reject back down off of there, right? I'm kind of over exaggerating it, but into this area, which would obviously be the same thing right around that 200 support again, plus a support line. and then I want to see it break up again and create some kind of a double bottom, right? Then I would say, okay, then I'm convinced that the bullishness is going to hold, and I'll take that because it's a surefire bet. Don't just. My point is if you've hit your goal for the week, don't chase, because it will wreck you. You may get it right 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time, man, it's going to destroy you. So that's my word of wisdom today. We will be trading today at 9:15. Guys, we always meet up at 9:15 so we can talk about the pre-market, kind of get ready to go, and we'll get some good trades in. Hopefully, I'd like to get good 1, maybe 2 trades in before 10:30, and so that way we can kind of hang out and see what the news does, right? So we can identify that trend. So but that is pretty much all I have, guys. I don't think I have any other questions in there. On TikTok for the room, you guys have the insights. Please follow it. I've added a lot more data in there. I hope that you understand it. And guys, if you're in the room watching this, if you don't understand something, please ask. Please ask. My most frustrating thing as a coach in the room is when people message me and say that they think they're about to give up because they've just been getting wrecked for the last month. And I'm like, you haven't said anything. I mean, we don't know. If you're taking trades outside of what the live trader setting is set up for, or outside of what we're calling in the room, I mean, we're not psychic. I have no way to know that, right? And so the biggest thing, he's speaking at 12, the biggest thing people have is, you got to get past your pride and your shame of trying to talk to someone about the fact you took a loss. And because if you take a loss and you continue to take a loss, you're now going to be revenge trading. If you the other worst thing people do is they'll lose a big trade and their immediate thought is, man, I have to get this back. I have to get it back. And then they chase a number or a big trade to get that big loss back, and you get wrecked. If you get a loss, right, sometimes it's best to reset. Just reset, take it as it comes, and you got to let that go. You got to let that loss go and just get it back when you get it back, right? I mean, that's trading. It's going to happen. So, but I appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to jump off here. We'll see you guys in the room. I'll open it up here in about 7 minutes. TikTok, I will, I think I might go live again here at 9:30 and kind of provide that live for a little bit in the room. So if you guys still want to stick around, you can look out for that. And I'll see you guys soon.